The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, folding closures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au. Welcome to the KRGS podcast. I'm your host, Drew Blackman. The aim of our podcast is to talk to cool people with cool stories, whether it be our suppliers, customers, staff, other business owners, or people from different walks of life, and get to know them a bit better. If you're interested in coming on, drop us a line or email or connect with us on Facebook and we can have a chat to see what we can do. In our last episode with Denny Ellisard from CW Products, I mentioned numbers guru and rugby league supercoach Jim Pisanius from MP&K Accountants was our next guest. Unfortunately, due to the current environment, Jim being an accountant is run off his feet with his customers. Jim will be joining us on a future podcast, he has promised. On today's podcast, I am joined by KRGS Doors Managing Director Clayton Blackman to see what is happening in the shop fitting world and discuss small business and how they're surviving this corona pandemic. Welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Clayton Blackman. Welcome back to the podcast, Clayton.
Thanks, Drewy. Off the bench for Jimmy Pisanius. Unfortunately, he's under the pump.
Yes.
Couldn't make it, so I'm back from a second. I must have made an impression on the first one because I'm back for a second run.
Well, I must say your podcast was the most downloaded episode we've had so far.
Why does that not surprise me?
Well, I have had confirmation that they're using it to put babies to sleep in hospital these days.
If I listen to it more than once, does that count as a couple of episodes?
A couple of downloads?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I heard you do have it on repeat in the car.
I've got it
on loop. You do love your own voice.
What's going on?
What has been happening? Before everyone went into meltdown, you've been tripping around a little bit?
I've had a couple of visits around to some premises, and one I was very, very good actually. We got an invite to go to a conference up at Kingscliff, up on the Gold Coast, and it was with a company called Total Fitouts, who are a shop fitting company, and they do it a little bit different. They franchise it.
Right.
So they've got these Total Fit-Out brands in all states of Australia. The main gentleman that looks after is a gentleman by the name of Jeremy Dyer, and he does a really good job, and they put on a really good conference. They had some great speakers. They had this American gentleman there that came in and spoke on the first day. He was very good.
How many people were in attendance?
I'm not 100% sure, but there was probably about 40 to 50. So I think at the moment they've got about between 9 and 12 franchises, or probably closer to 12 franchises. I know they've got guys in Adelaide and even over in WA, but also over in New Zealand. So I got to meet all the franchisees and so forth. And we've picked up a bit of work from some of those guys already, doing one for Michael down in Melbourne.
Excellent.
At the moment as we speak. But it was really good the way they bring all their guys together. So what Jeremy's office does is they sort of do all the behind-the-scenes things for these guys in all these franchises and using the bulk buying type thing. So, for example, like they had Bunnings there. So, obviously, every one of those franchisees can then tap into the discount because they're buying it in bulk.
Rather than a small business trying to buy.
Yeah, and obviously that's where they're trying to include us so we can supply them grills and shutters. It's not just a one-off brand Total Fit-Outs. It's all different franchisees around the countryside. So it was really good to pick up what they're trying to do. And I haven't seen it being done in that situation, particularly with shop fitting before. But it was really professional. They put that on every 12 months. And on the Wednesday night, they had like a welcoming dinner where everyone comes along and had a few bites and drinks and so forth, which wasn't too late. It was a good night. And then the Thursday they had the speakers, and we got to put on a display and so forth and promote our product with them. But it was good to see that side of things on how they do it.
So the speaker side of things, what type of speakers did they have?
So this gentleman, I forget his name. I should have got his name before I come to the podcast, but he'd work with Facebook. He was a marketing guru, and he'd work with Facebook and been with different other companies, and it was good to see his side. I've seen a couple of those guys, American speakers. You come away, and even if you can pick up one or two different ideas, it was really good. One thing that I did pick up on, and it was a really good story that he told, and it was a company called Neiman Marcus.
Right.
So this is a company, Neiman Marcus, here in Dallas, Texas, which is obviously close to my heart because I like the place.
What sort of shop are they?
So they did everything from clothing to shoes to chandeliers. Like they were in the 1950s. They were this massive big retail outlet.
Similar to Costco?
I'm not sure. Possibly you might go there, and I don't know about chandeliers at Costco, but it was very, very big in the 50s, right? And all the staff all immaculately dressed. So they all had, the gentlemen were in tuxedos, ladies all wore dresses. Anyway, they were really big on customer service.
Okay.
Massive on customer service. So Neiman Marcus opened up this branch at Dallas, Texas, the first one. One of their opposition guys was going to try and test him out and try and be a bit of a smarty about it. Anyway, he walked in with a wheelbarrow with 4 car tyres.
Yes.
And he walked in and he seen this gentleman there. Anyway, he said, I bought these car tyres here and I don't need them anymore. I want to get a return. I want to get a refund for them. So the gentleman straight away, he writes out his refund. Says, sir, if you take this slip of paper with you over to there and they'll refund you straight away. Anyway, it turns out Neiman Marcus didn't even sell tyres.
Right.
They didn't even sell tyres. And this is the story. This is the customer service that he's talking about. He didn't have to... This guy was going to come in and test them and see what they... Anyway, he proved him wrong and gave him his money back, even though he didn't buy it from Neiman Marcus, straight over. And to this day, that wheelbarrow with those tyres are still in that premises.
Right.
So that's
just
the
as a reminder.
Just as a reminder, this is the customer service we're talking about.
Or are they for sale that they could buy them 50
I'm not
years
sure.
later?
No,
I don't know how the rubber would be on them.
Not sure. But, yeah, that was one thing that really hit home with me with Neiman Marcus. I thought that was really good. Also, when I went up to the Gold Coast, on the Wednesday, I went and met with a company called Duck Studios. They're on the northern side of the Gold Coast. And met with Joel, and they do a podcast. They're only new at it. I think I was the third one.
Okay.
To go to air, but they're a small shop fitting company, but they just invited me to come up and have a chat with them. We've done some work for them before. It was basically just tell the story of mine and KRGS Doors and how we got into the industry.
I believe their podcast is called The First Dollar.
Yes.
And it's a focus on how, as a company, you earned the first dollar for the company.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
I know he's had there's a company on there, and I forget the name. They're a hamburger place.
Yeah, locally. They're locally. I think they're down at Tweed.
Yes. And just on customer service, that podcast, they tell a story about they were having trouble with one of the delivery companies, Uber or something like that, and the lady got a delivery of her hamburger, and it was absolutely disgusting, and she complained. And the gentleman, the owners, asked her to send a photo of it.
Take some photos of it and send it back to us.
And send it to us. And it turns out that the hamburgers that they sell are gourmet and quite flash.
Yeah.
And quite nice they are. And it turns out that it was a McDonald's McFeast type of hamburger that the driver had either dropped it or eaten it.
The driver had eaten it
and then ducked to McDonald's, put it back into the package and sent it in.
Got a McFeast and he went.
Yeah, so that's an interesting story, that one.
So then they flicked, I think it was who had deliveries doing their food, flicked them.
Yeah. They no longer engaged them after that one.
Yeah.
That was sort of the
because they were making bugger all out of it anyway. I think they were making 2 and 6 out of it.
Yes.
To as a delivery, but that was quite interesting to catch up with those guys and tell our story and so forth.
So you just really mentioned our story, how we began.
Yeah, it was just how I got into the industry. So it was pretty much a rerun of our first episode here on KRGS Doors podcast. It was how I got into it and how the KRGS Doors evolved. And
what's their setup like? Similar to ours?
Yeah, mate, very similar. Just like this, around a boardroom in an office, and it's just one-on-one, and it was good. It was just casual, just like two blokes having a chat.
Now, another event, and I attended this event as well. It was the ASOFIA event, which was held at the Leminex premises here in Sydney at Alexandria. I think they call it the Hive, which is quite a good setup. It's the Leminex showroom as such, which has got all their products.
Yeah, I hadn't been there before. I've driven past 100 times.
Yeah, it is pretty flash.
But it's a good setup,
A good setup. And in that one, Leminex made a presentation on their products and what they've got coming up.
Got some new laminates and so forth.
Yes, and then also A&P made a presentation on their 2 upcoming shopping centres, which is Marrickville Metro, which has had an upgrade or in the process of getting an upgrade, and Carryup over in WA.
Yeah, so it was good to see that presentation on the night by AMP because obviously we're doing work there at Marrickville Metro. So we're putting in our steel shutters and our Series 3 shutters. And also it was good to talk to the guys about Carryup because they're interested in talking to us for some of our folding closure products over there in Western Australia.
Yeah, it's quite interesting seeing the shopping centres now, and we've briefly spoken about it in the past, that it's now an experience that you just
Correct.
don't go to Woolies, or you just don't go to the shop. They've got the entertainment, they've got the Eat Street, the whole lot. They're really trying to make it a destination.
Yeah, they are.
And AMP on that presentation really proved that's what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, they showed some wonderful photos and so forth, what they're trying to achieve there at Marrickville. Marrickville's got they've gone for the little bit of what I would call the retro look, old style, because of the area, with some different paintings and so forth, and some different sculpture. And Carryup, I think Carryup was only about 12 kilometres or something from the city, close to the water. So yeah, it's some exciting there with some upcoming projects there, and obviously we're involved with it, which is good.
Just on the back of that, what other projects have we got coming up?
So at the moment we've got a couple of shopping centres, which is good for this time of year. It's a little bit unusual, but we've got some couple of shopping centres, which is Cameron Park, doing some work up at Cameron Park, which is up the freeway, up the M1, doing some work. I think we start there on the 31st.
Yes.
And then also another shopping centre here in the west of Sydney at Cadden's Corner. So that's a nice one that we've just picked up recently. We're doing some work out there. I've got to go to site next week and measure up some shutters out there. Fairly good sized job. One that we're putting in next week, just a local one here in Granville, which is the Granville Community Centre, which is pretty massive if you go past and have a look. It's an indoor pool and an indoor area and so forth, but it's all one level, but it's really, really spread out, that sort of area and land that they've got there at the moment.
It's lately I'm finding that the councils are really tipping a lot of money into those areas for parks and
They are.
centres like that for the community, which I don't know if they've done that all in the past.
Well, there's another one actually we're doing that just come to mind when I was talking about the community. There's another one at Zetland, which is same thing, right in the city there, or right in the inner city, with indoor pool, gym facilities and all that type of thing.
Yeah.
Very, very similar. Very similar, all single level, but just spread out.
Hi guys, sorry to interrupt the podcast, but I just want to tell you about the KRGS Clear Vision roller shutter. Constructed of 98mm polycarbonate slats, interlocked with aluminium joining sections. The polycarbonate comes in standard clear or is available in smoke, sky, tiger and lime. And the aluminium can be powder coated to match your decor. Manual or motorised operation is available depending on the size. For more information, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au or call 1800 897 822. Now back to the podcast.
Now, I don't want to mention it because I believe it's been on the news enough, but we sort of have to. Coronavirus, or COVID-19 as they like to call it, the C-bomb, it's also known as in other... How's KRGS Doors travelling in this time?
Well, I guess like anyone, I'm a little bit coronaed out, to be honest, but you just got to stay positive. I think that's one thing. I just read an email that there's another thing that I was involved with just been postponed, but just got to stay positive. I don't think anyone's actually got the correct answer for coronavirus because we've never had this in the past. I heard something yesterday on the radio like SARS and so forth. It necessarily affected one country. Even look back, or comparing it to 9/11, like the devastation it had on the US with 9/11. That devastation was probably only with New York, where the rest of America and the rest of the world still traded.
Continued on.
But this has absolutely put the cleaners through everything. It changes in this country. It changes not only every day but every hour. I mean, there's so many things, and I don't think anyone has actually got the answer of what the thing is. Obviously, we're a small business, and we don't want to shut down. And people say, "Oh, non-essential items closing," but I think we're the most important essential item going. But we're obviously a small business, but I can't see the answer, or I can't see anything happening unless they're going to actually close the place down until the numbers decrease.
Yes.
The only thing I can see is shutting the whole place down until it clears, whether it's for 2 weeks. I'm hoping it's only sort of 4 weeks and we're back up and running. But touch wood, no one here or no one close to us or no family or so forth suffer from it. Yeah, it's quite scary, and no one's got the answer because it's not in the rule book. How do you cope with this before? You know, it's
never happened before.
No.
And
how do you prepare for something? Hey, we're going to shut your business down, and I feel really sorry for those businesses. Like, I'd hate to have a cafe or a restaurant or one of those at the moment, or even a pub.
It's the unknown.
Yeah, you don't know. Like, how long are those poor buggers going to be? And like I was at Castle Towers yesterday measuring up a job, and you could have fired a shotgun through there and hit no one. It was just like a morgue. It was so quiet. Yeah, no one's got the answer, and obviously they don't want people congregating, but I don't know, the Coles and Woolies, those type of ones, and Aldi's, I think they're obviously going to have to stay open because people are going to need to shop and so forth, because I'm not a panic buyer. Like, I haven't gone out and bought up big time, but obviously those sort of centres, but I don't know about the retailers and so forth. Like, I see a retailer today, Michael Hill, they're shutting their stores, close all their stores for their staff and so forth. Yeah, mate, I don't know what the answer is. Do we shut down for a month or 5 weeks or whatever? Do we shut down and then see what comes of it then?
It's interesting too. Retail, if they stay open, and there's lined up at the local office, the CES. I don't know if it's still called the CES. It was the CES back in my day, but there's line up because of all these people losing their jobs. So there's no disposable income for those retailers to, hey, I've got to continue to pay my rent, I've got to continue to pay my staff, but no one's spending.
The only shops they're going to be spending in, mate, is Coles and Woolies.
Woolies, yeah.
There's no one else buying any other apparel.
What are your thoughts on the government of how they've handled it?
Mate, I'm a ScoMo supporter. Always have, always will be. But we're a fucking island. Like, let's be smart about it. We could have closed the place down. Look what New Zealand did.
Yes.
Sorry, what's the Prime Minister of New Zealand? Fantastic. She got on the front foot. Sorry, you can't come in.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, and I know it's being hard-nosed. If you're overseas, all the cases that came in to Australia from being brought in from overseas.
None of them started here.
If we put the close sign up, guess what? We don't get it.
Yes.
I understand Australians are overseas and they want to come home, but I think we haven't done the right thing with these cruise ships coming in as well. Like, all these cruises, you can see them line up in the harbour. Down the south coast, you can see them, they're just about nose to tail down near Wollongong. There's people on those boats, confirmed cases, and then we let them back in. Oh, they've got to self-isolate. Like, the horse is bolted.
Yes.
The horse is bolted. So I just think we should have just
shut the borders.
Put the fence up and just say, hey guys, sorry.
Until further notice.
Yeah, do the crime, pay the fine.
Yeah, certainly. No, that all makes sense. And I think it is an unknown. As you said, it's changing every hour of, hey, this is what's happening and this is not what's happening. You just don't know.
No. And it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
Yes.
Currently.
Now, here at KRGS Doors, we've just released 3 new products, which is our crystal clear high security grille, our mesh infill to suit our folding closure, and our coloured poly to suit our clear vision roller shutter. Our crystal clear high security grille is a solid polycarbonate rod with polycarbonate link for full transparency on the doors. Clayton, you've seen a couple of these. We put one in at a bar recently, which looks really good with the bottles behind it and the glass behind it.
Yeah, come up nice.
Yeah, so it's just something different. There's nothing else on the market like that?
No, there's nothing else like that at the moment. It does look, it's just eye-catching. It's just there for the look and so forth. I do like the look of the ones with the other 2 products, like the mesh infill and the coloured poly. It's something different. You know what I mean? You don't want the same shop over and over and over and again, and people are looking for a different design. We've had the one type of mesh infills now for a fair while out on the market, so we're trying to change it up and come up with some different patterns.
Different patterns, yes.
Okay, you're going to see it when the store's closed, your shop front's there to be seen when Coles and Woolies are open for long hours and Kmart's for 24 hours. You still want to be able to show your store off.
Well, not only that, you want to be engaging your customer even when you are closed.
That's right. And the same with the coloured polycarbonate. I mean, we've got it in the smoke, the blue, the tiger, and the green, I believe.
Yes.
So it obviously matches in with your colours of your store and your branding.
And with those products too, they can be powder coated in the
Absolutely.
Dulux range to
Correct.
suit the decor. Now, we all know your love of sport,
Right.
and most of the sports being cancelled. What are you doing with your weekends now that there's no sport
Well, I
to
don't
watch?
know, mate, because I spoke to Leanne yesterday and I said,
Leanne is your wife.
Leanne's my wife, sorry. And I said, footy's been cancelled on the weekend. Like, how am I going to... There's 8 games. Like, what am I... I just mowed the lawn on the last weekend, so it won't need doing again this weekend. So, yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I haven't been... Well, Thursday night I haven't been put in that predicament as yet because the footy's not on, but it's going to be a bit strange Saturday night or with no footy. Yeah, I don't know what...
All I ever know now, flicking through the TV channels, like we've got Foxtel, and you straight away go to the 500 channels, and I think 502 is the rugby league channel.
Correct.
And then you look for ESPN to see if there's any basketball on. And
Well, even 506, like the V8 supercars, there's no supercars.
yeah, so it's...
So I don't know. It's reruns of I don't know the footy channel. They might put reruns of old games on or something. I'm not sure, but yeah,
Maybe MASH, reruns of MASH. So what's them end
Yeah.
to end? That'd be...
back to back.
Yeah, because I think that war only lasted 4 years, but MASH lasted about 12 years
Yeah.
as a TV show.
That'd be as exciting as a kick in the nuts.
Yeah, that'd be thrilling. Clayton, thank you for joining us on the podcast,
Thanks, mate. Thanks again.
and I'm sure we'll get you on a few episodes time.
Look forward to it.
Have a good one.
Take
Cheers.
care.
That wraps up our chat with Clayton Blackman, Managing Director of KRGS Doors. If you have missed any previous episodes, you can download them from our website, www.krgsdoors.com.au/podcast, or on your favourite podcast player, search KRGS Doors. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button as it boosts our ranking and also my ego. As always, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. Thanks. Till next time. The KRGS Doors Show, proudly brought to you by KRGS Doors. For all your shopfront roller shutters, roller grills, fold enclosures and bifold doors, visit www.krgsdoors.com.au.